Hey, good morning. It is Thursday, May 1st. So, what are we talking about today? I thought we'd kind of give some thought to what's coming into the shop, how business is going, and what we're seeing more of this year that I haven't seen in past years. So, stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it. And yes, this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Thursday, May 1st of 2025. So how are you guys doing out there with your repair shop, your repair business? I know some of you guys do it on the side. I know some of you guys do it just your own stuff. And I also know there's shops out there, you guys that run and work at shops. For us, we've already started the spring rush. We had a couple of days in the 80s that got people spurred into motion, but it's been a unique year compared to most years. And why do I say unique? I don't think I've ever been in this business, and it's been years, that I've had customers concerned that they might get screwed. And some of them are returning customers maybe that we've had in the past, but we don't see them every year. And I can give you example after example. And like the one, they had a John Deere zero turn. And they asked us if we could pick it up. It would go frontwards, but it wouldn't go backwards. So we ended up going there. It wouldn't start. We winched it onto the trailer and found that there was a pin loose, and there's a shock absorber in the zero turns and the handles for detent. And they had pulled this pin out, or somebody had, and in doing so, the shock absorber fell down and it got into a locked position where it wouldn't allow it to go into the backward motion. Okay, so fast forward. I get a text saying, we just wanted you to do an estimate to see if it's worth fixing. I'm looking at a $5,000-$6,000 zero turn, and they're wanting to know if it's worth fixing of putting that shock absorber back on. Of course it is. So I sent a message back saying, we've already got a half tore apart, because you have to get at it, right? Here's where we're at. You're looking at just under $200 to fix the issue. For less than $100 more, since it still is sitting here, do you want us to do a service on it? The surprising answer was no. We'll take care of that ourselves. We just want to know if the lawnmower is worth fixing, or should we go buy a new one? Yes, it's worth fixing, and you're being a dumbass if you don't want it serviced for less than $100. It's here. You're not going to incur any trucking. You're not going to. It's right here. But you do what the customer asks, and then my philosophy has always been: you do what the customer's expectations are, and then exceed them in some way or shape or form. Right? The part I don't get is, why not spend that extra less than $100 to service it? And it came down to money, having the money. And by the time we figured up the hours, trucking, and all the other stuff, it came to $174. So to do an oil filter, fuel filter, and plugs would have cost probably around $75-$80 more. Been done. And we didn't see that lawnmower last year, so we know it hadn't been done in at least a couple of years. This is what we're running into. The next one. Can you come get the lawnmower and replace the fuel line from the tank to the engine? What? Yes, I got an LX series John Deere, and I don't need a service because my brother-in-law already changed the oil filter, fuel filter, and I think he put the fuel filter on backwards. And oh, by the way, could you touch up the blades while it's there? Why didn't you just have us do it all? Why didn't the brother-in-law touch up the blades, put the fuel filter on right, and replace the fuel line? Have no clue. But the cost to go pick it up, we drove it onto the trailer. To turn the fuel filter around, the blades were wore beyond what they should have, and so we ended up ordering a new set of blades for it. But if you're going to go through all that trouble, see, the most expensive part, not the most expensive part, but when you start figuring in trucking, that's time. And we keep our rates low for pickup and drop off because it gives us work. I'll be honest with you. But if it's just going to go pick it up and it's minor stuff and they don't want to spend a lot of money, it's kind of like, well, now we're going to have to raise the trucking, the pickup and drop offs, because you're asking us to do less and less and less, which means less work. And when you have two guys plus gas, time, gas, wear and tear on the vehicle, trailer, we have an expectation of most lawnmowers are going to bring us $200. That's before the cost of goods sold. Is the oil filter, oil, fuel filter, spark plugs, and anything else that we find. That's going to come off the $200 that's coming out of our pocket. So we're not making that. And depending on where you are, if we're going to get your machine, we're spending quite a bit of money in gas and time. Because Claude is still on the clock, whether we're driving to somebody's place to pick it up or whether he's turning a wrench in the shop. And if he's turning a wrench in the shop, we're looking at $40. If we're spending our time driving around doing pickups and drop-offs, it's not making us squat. It's making us $40. And that's got to cover both of us, plus the fuel, plus the wear and tear, plus on the truck and trailer. So that was the second one. And I told Claude, I said, what is it this year where customers are asking to do as little as possible when it comes to their unit? Third machine. We get a call. Can you come out? I think that I might have to have you sharpen my lawnmower blades because they're not cutting right. But you don't need to worry about doing a oil change, a service on it, because I do that. Okay. So we're trying to explain to her that it's not that much more to have a service done. She's already incurred the pickup and drop off for being there. I can look into the chute and I can see that the tips are worn off from the mower blades, the mulching blades, that it's actually missing parts. And she said, well, it's been mowing and leaving strips. Strips? But she said, I have a quart of oil and I change the oil. Claude says, what about oil filter? She said, well, I can't find them. So that's the one that's been on there since I first bought it. And the unit is like 5-6 years old. So that one there, I ordered a set of blades for it. I'm going to do an oil change on it. And she's a newer customer that we picked up this year. We did her snowblower that somebody had zip tied the handle for the auger because the cable was bad or something, so they zip tied it and the auger ran all the time. I'll tell you, these MacGyvers out there that your brother-in-law or your some relative, long lost relative, is working on your equipment and you're not benefiting. But that's something that we've encountered more so this year than ever. More so that I'm seeing it and it's come to light. You have every year a customer or two that you know that they probably had sticker shock before, where another shop gave them like a $300 or $400 bill for changing the oil. And we had one last year that came to us, and what she had done is she had a John Deere mower and she sent it to have it serviced, and they charged her $120 for pickup and drop off. For just a general service, ended up being just shy of $500, and they said it was ready to go all summer. She hadn't even mowed the yard the first time, and the belt burned up on it. Did she hit something to cause the belt to burn up? No. She was just simply out mowing the yard. They charged her another $120 plus the cost of the belt, and it ended up being another $300. Now she's got $800 in just a regular spring service. That is asinine. We normally charge around $200 to $250 depending on the machine and how deep we need to go on it. A push more, not so deep. All you got is just a little bit of oil and a spark plug. But riders, depending on what air filter, if they need it, most of the machines that come our way, we just need to be blowed out. They don't need a new air filter on it. If it starts getting heavy, replace it. If you can't see through it, replace it. They're just common things that you're going to know what to do from time to time, right? Because you're getting more experience the more you do it. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that these people that are telling us in clause like we need to do exactly what the customer says, and that's not always the case. The customer doesn't know what's best. Yes, it's the customer's money. But in the end, I'm going to save them money by doing it my way than doing it their way. The gal said that because she couldn't find a Briggs oil filter. I said, I got cases of them. So what do you want us to do, Claude asked. Do you want us to change the oil and the oil filter? Or do you want us to bring an oil filter back with us so that you can change it? She said, well, go ahead and just bring an oil filter back. I've got a quart of oil. Well, the machine takes a quart and a half. Sometimes two, depending on the machine. But this one's about a quart and a half. So if she's only putting a quart in, if she drained all the oil, it's not going to fill it. It's not going to be on the full mark. And if that oil filter has been the one that's been on there originally from brand new, it's probably heavier than a dead minister. Can you get away with it like from every other year? Yeah, probably, depending on how many hours you put on it. But like my zero turn, I change the oil and oil filter every year. And like Claude was saying, the oil looks just like brand new coming out of my machine Monday. And it's because I keep it changed every year. And I mow a pretty good sized yard. But it shows that I'm taking care of it, that I'm not letting the oil get to the point of where it's breaking down and not having the viscosity. And we run all synthetic in everybody's machines, not just our own. I buy just synthetic anymore. Whether you like it or not, I'm billing right across the board. Synthetic. Same thing with lawnmower blades. I bill right across the board, $15. Oil filters, $10, right across the board. Fuel filters, $6.50, right across the board. Are some more blades more than others? Yeah, but I average them. Some I can buy for $9, $10 and some that are $13. But if I average right across the board, in the end, I'm going to come out all right. And that way, nobody has to sit there and figure out, well, if you have a 3-blade set, it's $45. plus tax. If we have to special order somebody's blade, they're going to pay what list is. So let me know what you're seeing in your shops, if you have them, or if you guys are doing nights and weekends. Are you having customers want you to do less and they're trying to do more? And do you find when they try to do more that it actually costs them more because you have to go back and redo? We've already had one customer try to change their own oil, and they cross-threaded the oil filter onto the machine. We had to re-tap it out and put a new filter on. That's what I say. Sometimes when you go to save money, you're going to end up spending more money. If you have somebody that is a good mechanic, like Jason, Claude, they will save you money in the long run because they're going to do it right. There is no redos. Whereas with a customer, if they do it themselves, are they doing what needs to be done? So in the comments, let me know what you're seeing, what you guys do in the shop, how you guys are pricing stuff, and are you staying busy? So on that note, you guys have a great Thursday, and we'll catch you here bright and early tomorrow morning for the weekday. Again, thanks so much for watching.